I know you saw Pac-Man. And that's how you tell if something's a cultural icon. What the f*** is a Pac-Man? I have no idea. But we all know about the yellow man that eats dots, fruit, and dead things. Pac-Man's been around the block a few times in the gaming industry and pop culture. He has his own TV show, has appeared in other video games such as Smash Bros, and has even been in movies like the cinematic masterpiece starring Adam Sandler, Pixels.
Pac-Man's a bad guy?
For real though, this movie slaps and is stupidly funny.
You're a good boy.
No, that isn't the creator of Pac-Man, that's an actor. That credit belongs to Mr. Toru Iwatani, who created the Pac-Man arcade in 1980. At the time, there were mostly war and sports-themed games, and Iwatani wanted to create a game that appealed to both men and women. It was initially titled Pac-Man in Japan, but was changed to Pac-Man for the US to alleviate vandalism. I changed it to F***Man. Yeah, they didn't trust us Americans to resist our urge to change it to F***Man. Even saying it's funny. F***Man. Hey, yo, Tony, let's go play some F***Man. Hey, I just got a new high score on F***Man. Mom, get out of my room, I'm playing F***Man. Yeah, it was a good move to change it. Pac-Man is humongously popular, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. What do you do with a successful IP?
Milk the tits until they're raw.
Good job, class. That is exactly what Namco did by making an ungodly amount of Pac-Man games. Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Pac-Man Plus, Baby Pac-Man, Super Pac-Man, Pac-and-Pal, Professor Pac-Man, Junior Pac-Man, Pac-Land, Pac-Mania. You put Pac in front or behind any word and you can get a Pac-Man game. There are way too many freaking games for me to read off this entire list, so you can do that yourself. The point is, the yellow ball man of Pac is popular. I'm not a huge fan of the Pac, but I do enjoy a good puck sesh every once in a while. In the 1990s, the big game trend was switching all the games over to 3D, and Pac-Man was going to do the same, but it was kind of wild for Pac-Man to do so because not only is it an arcade game, it was also just a maze game. Would it stay the same but just in 3D, or change genres entirely? Well, Pac-Man is basically the MGK of video games, and they both worked. I'm an MGK fan, okay? Sue me. It wasn't smooth sailing when Pac-Man tried making the jump to 3D. It was the 20th anniversary of Pac-Man, so of course they wanted to go all out and release a good game for the world to play. Developers first worked on a Pac-Man game called The Adventure of Pac-Man Ghost Zone, which was supposed to be an open-world adventure game, but it was so bad that they fired most of the dev team. Yikes. It eventually molded into what we know now as Pac-Man World, a collectathon platformer made for the PlayStation. I never played the original Pac-Man World, but I did play Pac-Man World 2 growing up on the GameCube at my grandma's house, and from what I remember, the game was a blast. With the announcement of the remake of Pac-Man World, I got pretty jazzed about it, and the closer we got and the more trailers I saw, I really wanted to play it. I even got roasted on our podcast. The one I'm looking forward to specifically is Pac-Man World Remake.
Oh no! Really?
Yeah,
You're looking forward to a garbage game?
I've never played the first one, but I loved Pac-Man World 2. It was a very fun platformer, so it would be fun for me to experience the first one, not on the PlayStation. I'm not ashamed of who I am. And then the special day hit, August 26th. I had my entire weekend planned out. All I was gonna do was play Pac-Man the whole weekend until I beat it. Just got to Walmart. It's 8:30 in the morning. I'm getting Pac-Man. I went to Walmart with the hopes of picking it up, and nothing. I guess I'm not getting Pac-Man today, because I don't see it. Then I went to GameStop, our local retro game store, Best Buy, and nothing! No Pac-Man for me to play. With no hope left in my soul and tears in my eyes, I decided to go back to Walmart that evening to see if the Pac gods would grant this little gamer boy a little gamer wish. Now I'm super excited, let's go! And that's the reason why I love and hate buying games day one. You get your hopes up, but you may not even get your game. All the digital people are like, I already played it. Screw you. I got it physically. I can touch this. You can't touch digital. This is a whole subject for an entirely separate video, which I will do some other day. But I did want to mention that I was going to get it for the Xbox One because it runs at 60 frames as opposed to the Switch, which runs at 30. And the moment, I didn't care. I wanted this round man of Pac. And I got him. Like previously mentioned, Pac-Man World Re-Pac is a 3D collectathon platformer, and yes, I'm not comparing the remake to the original. I never played it, I'm just going to give you my thoughts and experience with the game. You play as Pac-Man traversing worlds to save his friends and family. The opening cutscene shows all of his friends and family getting kidnapped by the ghosts, all in various ways. Even Miss Pac-Mom? Apparently there's a messy legal dispute over the rights to Miss Pac-Man between Bandai Namco and AtGames. Bandai owns the trademark and the copyright, while AtGames purchased the separately held royalty rights. Bandai was in the process of getting the royalty rights from GCC, which was started by a group of MIT students who created Miss Pac-Man, formerly known as Crazy Otto. Anyway, AtGames swooped in, bought the royalty rights from GCC, and there you go. What a fucking mess. From what I've researched, AtGames has been involved with other suspect things in the past with a very bad reputation. Bad AtGames. Bad. Pac-Man has a couple of moves that are fitting to Pac-Man to help him get his family back. You have a bounce attack, which is going to be your most used move for not only attacking enemies but also for platforming and trying to get a little more air. You also have specific sections where you need to butt bounce on these pads to get up, but you can't land on them or you roll off. And sometimes I would just roll off multiple times in a row, and it was very frustrating. Maybe I'm the only one and I just suck. You should let me know down in the comments below. Pac-Man controls nice and jumping feels good, making platforming very enjoyable. I will say that I did think it was kind of silly that Pac-Man jumps higher out of water than he does on land. Why is this a thing? I don't know. When you jump to the side of a ledge, Pac-Man will grab it and then front flip up it like a badass instead of pulling himself onto the platform. This is cool and all, but the only time this badassery failed was when the platforms were moving. So he would front flip up, but the platform kept moving while Pac-Man did not, and I would fall off. This is why you should opt for functionality over trying to get some Pac-Puss. He has a charge dash move used for attacking, dashing up hills and across gaps, and for charging these fan pads that move. Pac-Man has another attack where you can throw Pac dots you collect at enemies, which is nice, but I didn't use this one as much as I should have. It's pretty effective against the common enemies, and it really came in clutch when I'd fight enemies that I couldn't butt bounce their heads. The final move is a flutter move. I'm not entirely sure why this is even in the game. I never used it, and you kinda just hover in place, delaying your death. There are a couple of power-ups that were few and far in between, and felt like they were very underutilized, save the metal Pac-Man and the actual power pellet for eating ghosts. Yeah, Pac-Man was the real OG Ghostbuster. Take that, Bill Murray.
That's great!
You use Metal Pac-Man a lot to sink underwater and break boxes, as well as to kill metal enemies and whatnot. The other one was a bomb pellet, where you eat it and then you can blow up a bunch of enemies with an AoE attack. But it's so sparse in the game, I can only think of maybe 2 or 3 times I used it. These power-ups were cool, but I feel like they could have added a variety and used said power-ups more frequently throughout the game. Granted, this is a remake of the original, which came out in 1999. You collect lots of fruits and other various collectibles riddled in each stage. All of the collectibles you get give you points to your overall score, as well as act as keys to open doors to get you yet even more collectibles. Letters that spell Pac-Man net you a bonus stage at the end of each level and give you even more points and lives. A Galaxium emblem allows you to play a classic Pac-Man maze, which really wasn't all that great. Sure, it's fun playing a classic Pac-Man maze, but they added lots of traps and stage hazards in each maze. But like I'm already running from the ghosts and now I have to worry about traps killing me too? It's more so annoying if anything, but I do like how they kept lots of classic Pac-Man elements like this in the game. There are keys you find in specific stages that allow you to free one of your kidnapped companions. If you don't save them all, it changes the ending you get. Yes, there are 2 endings and we will get to this in a bit. You also collect coins in each stage that you can use at the end in the slot machine to try and earn more lives, but this was not very easy. I suck at slots and I was way too impatient to try and sit and tediously play this. The boss fights ranged from, wow, this is really fun, to, why the hell is this so hard? My favorite boss fight was the Galaga fight, where you are pretty much playing Galaga. Same sound effects and shooting, and then you fight the big floating boss. My least favorite was that damn Anubis dog statue. You have to charge up these platforms and then hurry and dash at its weak point when it's exposed. The first hit is fine, but after that, it is a barrage of attacks that are so hard to dodge. Tornadoes, laser beams, fireballs, and minions walking around. It was so unforgivable and was a huge difficulty spike. And the game felt the need to tell me to switch to easy mode anytime I died a couple of times in a row. Listen, I know I suck, just let me keep sucking until I win. Then after that, the game goes back to being very doable for pretty much the entire game. There was a kart racing boss, which was fine I guess, nothing too riveting there. The final boss was pretty cool, and if you save all your companions on your quest, which you should, that's literally the whole reason Pac-Man is even on Ghost Island, it makes the final fight a whole lot easier. Just before you run out of hit points, which are in the shape of Pac-Man, nice, a saved companion will then throw a health at you. My god, that baby's got an arm. It was an overall fun fight that felt very rewarding. The levels were all pretty lengthy for the most part. Some sections felt like you were going through the platforming gauntlet, but the game has multiple checkpoints and gives you tons of lives, so there really isn't anything too daunting. I only got a game over once, and it was because I lost all my lives on the dumb Anubis boss fight. The level designs are very simple and linear, but I love the aesthetics and themes. The carnival area was probably my favorite. It's very colorful and vibrant, although there were some platforms with really bad hit detection. I am on the top of the platform, and the heat is on the side of the platform. Why am I still getting burned? There is a very basic hub world with 6 different locations and 4 levels in each of those locations. One thing they could have done was play different themed music when you enter the new area that would be fitting to said location. It's a very small detail that other platformers do, and I like it. Overall, the music was pretty fun. I mean, nothing really stood out to me, but it does get the job done. Once you beat the game, depending on if you saved everyone or not, which you should, you get one of 2 endings. You destroy Tokeman, and he tells Pac-Man that he just wanted people to like and respect him. That's why he wanted to be Pac-Man, because no one likes ghosts. Pac-Man forgives him, and they bro shake it out. In the other ending, Pac-Man looks at Tokeman's soul. He smiles. He holds up a power pellet, and he fucking eats him! The end! Mic drop. Pac-Man is a savage. Damn straight, the dude kidnapped his whole family. Don't come between a man and his family. Or dog. Pac-Man World Re-Pac is a fun, simple platformer that still feels like a Pac-Man game. It implemented lots of Pac-Man staples really well. Collecting things, his movesets, ghosts, dots, pellets, and much more. You've got the classic mazes, which I have my issues with, but it's still cool that they incorporated them. Pac-Man feels right at home being a 3D platformer, and honestly, Bandai Namco hit a home run for their first 3D Pac-Man game. Yeah, it's not a life-changing experience, but if you're a fan of Pac-Man and platforming, for 30 bucks, you can't really beat this game, which is jam-packed full of fun for about 7 to 10 hours. Man.